Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book tag, which this is my first time doing a mid-year book tag. I've never done this before. I didn't do it last year, and I am well aware that I've only read 15 books this year. I made it my goal to read 50 books, but we'll just see how it goes, okay? And I have my laptop right here ready to answer the questions for the mid-year book tag. Starting off strong, we're going to be talking about best book you've read so far in 2024. Okay, without a doubt, I can say that I have two favorite books from this year, and it is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. That's one of my favorite books that I read this year. And then I also have Reckless by Elsie Silver. I loved both of those books. I've been talking about Yours Truly for the longest time, and I think that that is one of my most favorite romance books ever because it's very lighthearted. It follows Jacob and Brianna, and they are just the sweetest things ever, and I just love them. And then we have Reckless, which follows the Chestnut Spring series, which follows Winter, who is Summer's sister from the first book of the Chestnut Spring series. And then it follows another guy who is Theo. I mentored Theo in the first book, so we got introduced to him, and so that just follows the both of them, and I love that book so much. So those are two of the best books of 2024. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I think the only sequel I read was Heartless, which is the sequel to Flawless after the first book. So Flawless is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series, and then Heartless is the second book, so technically that's the sequel that I read this year. I don't think I read any other series. I've been trying to minimize adding new series. Definitely best sequel I read this year. Next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to. Okay, so there's a lot of new releases that I wanted to read this year. First of all, I think it was Ruthless Vows, but I'm pretty sure it came out earlier in the US, but somehow it came out in the beginning of the year here in Indonesia. So that was a book that I really wanted to read. So we have Ruthless Vows, and then the reappearance of Rachel Price. I really want to read that book because Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson is actually a trilogy, but I only read the first book. I didn't even bother to pick up the second or the third book. Comment down below if you think I should get to the second and the third book, but I do really want to read the reappearance of Rachel Price, so I'm very intrigued. But I just saw it at the bookstore today and I was holding it and it was like quite thick. I'm like, do I really want to be reading a mystery thriller in the summer? I'm not so sure if that's what I want to go with, so I'm not so sure about that. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. One of my most anticipated reads of the year is definitely Reckless by Lauren Roberts, which is the sequel to Powerless. You guys know how much I love Powerless, and I'm very excited for Reckless to release so soon. I think it's gonna release next week, so I'm very excited for that sequel. And then there's also Nothing Like the Movies, which I'm actually excited but a little bit nervous just because I loved Better Than the Movies. I think I rated it 4 stars. And I'm not so sure about a second book because I love Wes and Liz, and we're going to be introduced to a new character in the second book, so I'm kind of nervous and a little bit excited. Then the next question is biggest disappointment. I don't think I'm disappointed. I'm just a little bit, I don't know. They said that Daisy Hates the Great Undoing is one of the best Magnolia Parks books, and I don't know if it was just me, maybe because I was reading it while I was sick. I don't know, maybe brain fog did something to my head or my brain or whatever, but I don't think that that's my favorite Magnolia Parks book. Probably also because I am much more of a Magnolia Parks girly rather than a Daisy Gates girly. I rated it 4 stars, so it was just an okay read. It wasn't my favorite Magnolia Parks book, but it was okay. It was a good contender. So the next question is biggest surprise. One of the biggest surprise I think that I had was the next book that I read after I read Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which was Not Here to Stay Friends by Caitlin Hill. Nobody talks about this book, and somehow it is actually so good. It's a YA romance book that follows two best friends. So the girl in the book, she goes to her best friend who lives in LA, and then she lands a role in a reality TV dating show. So kind of like The Bachelor, but for teens, I guess. And so she gets cast into that teen dating show, and it just follows that, and it's just very fun. I think about the characters often, and if I haven't told you, I love that book. Even though I rated it, I think I rated it like a 3.75. I think I might bump it up to 4 stars now, because I seem to still be thinking about them to this day. So you know a book is good when they stick to your head the rest of the year, and it did to me. So I love that book. It made me feel a little bit better because I was at home and I was sick for that period of time. So when I was reading that book, it just made me feel a little bit better while I was sick. So the next question is favorite new author, debut author, or a new to you author. Definitely I might have to say Abby Jimenez. She's definitely a newfound favorite author of mine. I started reading her books, and I did not know that Part of Your World and Yours Truly was actually the same interconnected standalone, but I started reading it from Yours Truly. Did not read Part of Your World, but I did love it. So I think I might get Part of Your World later this year. I'm not so sure, but I can say without a doubt that Abby Jimenez is my newfound favorite author of the year. Question is favorite fictional couples. I love this question. Okay, favorite fictional couples. Who do I start with? Brian and Jacob from Yours Truly, a definite, obvious answer. And then Justin and Emma from Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And then we have Willa and Kate from Heartless. Then we have Theo and Winter from Reckless by Elsie Silver. Sloane and Liam from Not Here to Stay Friends. I'm pretty sure that's all. Oh, obviously, what's his name? Okay, Ford and Rosie from Wild Love. So those are some of my favorite fictional couples for the year. Next question is newest favorite character or characters. Again, I'm trying not to repeat myself, but I think one of my most favorite character is Daphne from Funny Story. She reminds me a lot about myself. I think I've said it in one of my reading vlogs. I relate to Daphne so much, and I just love her character and her character development in Funny Story. So really appreciate her as a character. And then also I really liked Willow from Heartless by Elsie Silver. I just think she's a very outspoken and very bold character, which I love. I'm not anywhere near as bold or as courageous or as outspoken as Willow, but I just appreciate her as a character. It adds a bit of a bounce to the story, so I really enjoyed that. A book that made you cry. If you count happy tears, do you count happy tears? Obviously you do. So Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, because the ending, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but the ending of Magnolia Parks Into the Dark really got to me. It was, again, happy tears. So next question was a book that made you happy. A book that made me happy, I feel like when I finish reading the books that I'm currently reading and I love that book, it'll just ultimately make me feel happy. But I think that put me in a very happy mood in general was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, because that book, it was actually like, it was very emotional. It was an emotional roller coaster all around, but towards the end I just really appreciated the book ended. The next question is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Again, I'll have to say Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, because the cover is just stunning. I love the cover. It was so beautiful, and when I saw it at the bookstore, it was just like jaw dropped. It was so cute. And then obviously I really do like the cover of This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune, which is actually my current read anyways. It's so cute. I just love Carly Fortune's book covers. It's so pretty. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay, I'm looking at my bookshelves and seeing some of the books that I have not yet read. I would really like to get to Wanderlust by Al Everhart. I've had it since 2022, I think. I've not read it yet, so I think it's a good time for me to start reading that book. That's the only book that I really want to get to because it's already been living in my shelf for like 2 years now. So that's probably a sign for me to finish it. And that was the last question for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you guys want to see more book recommendations or want to follow along my book journey. You can also follow me on my Bookstagram, which is linked in the description box always. And that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in a new video. Goodbye.